Hey, vets. Happy Wednesday. Thank you for spending your time with us. Welcome to VA Claims Insiders Q&A. So I'm Coach Luna. I'm here with Coach Mitch, and going to be talking a little bit about the cost of living update and any general Q&As that you have. So please, by all means, in the comment section, say hi, give us some questions. A little bit about myself. I'm an Air Force vet, 10 years of service, 4 active, 6 reserve, 3 deployments. I've been a coach with VA Claims Insider now for 3 years. And I just love helping veterans make some very life-changing benefits. I've been doing this for quite a while now. I've had some very awesome success with my vets. So if you guys are thinking about signing up, you have my sign-up link there. And Coach Mitch, did you want to give any details?
Yeah, hey, thanks, Coach. Coach Mitch here with VA Claims Insider. I'm also a veteran. I'm an Army veteran. Uh, multiple deployments. To be honest with you, I retired from the Army last year. It was a privilege to get to serve. I really look at the opportunities we get to talk with veterans and educate each other and stuff. I just believe in everything that VA Claims Insider is doing, and I'm proud and excited to be part of it. I love seeing the shout outs in there, represent your branch of service. Just really excited to be here with you guys.
Good stuff. All right. So before we get started, got to get through the disclaimer. Disclaimer: we are not accredited agents, VSOs, attorneys, or any other entity recognized by the Department of Veterans Affairs, and we are not affiliated with the VA in any way. VA Claims Insider is an education-based coaching consulting company for disabled veterans exploring eligibility for increased VA disability benefits, and for those who wish to learn more about that process. VA Claims Insider also connects veterans with vetted independent medical professionals in our preferred provider network for medical examinations and independent medical opinions for a wide range of disability conditions. So, Mitch, you want to give us a little background about the ELITE program, what we have to provide?
Yeah, thanks, Coach Luna. So, some of the things that we do here at VA Claims Insider, right? We use what we call SEAM, but it's strategy, education, medical evidence to really help. And that's where we've had such a high success rate. With the ELITE program, you have a coach that is assigned to you. They're there for you to guide you and really, build on that strategy with you, right? We will provide I'd speak for most of us here, all of us, honestly, we're really, truly here for you. But we will walk you through the claims process, how it actually works, CMP, compensation and pension exams, some different perspectives on things. But we also have, some team things too with Zoom classes 3 times a day. It's really a community of veterans coming together, being able to share with each other, right, and educate each other. Endless resources, thousands of hours of resources according to like the Code of Federal Regulations, the CFR 38, and just knowledge is power. So we're here to guide you, to be your coach, and it's powerful movement. Thanks, Coach Luna.
Good stuff. So yeah, if you guys are curious about the program but don't want to sign up yet, we have discovery calls. So you can talk to a veteran ambassador. These discovery calls are free. So feel free to hit up one of our veteran ambassadors. They'll give you a rundown of how the program works, how the fee structure works. Everything that we do is geared to help out veterans improve their life. So please, if you've been struggling for a long time, give us a chance.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of veterans, you're frustrated, right? It's a difficult process. Sometimes we feel like we're not being heard. It's real. And I say it's for all of us. And I'll tell you, you're not alone, right? Don't give up ever. Some, people see things certain ways, but this here is about you. You served and you deserve. So we just appreciate you taking time today with us. Hopefully we can share some nuggets with you and talk about a couple of different things today.
Yep. So let's see, what sort of questions do we have here?
Got the Navy in here, Marine Corps. Looks like we got all the branches of service. See Tom Darko, I need help. Tom, glad you're here, sir. Hopefully we can leave something with you today, just, either way, to help you out. But like Coach Luna said, I would definitely, challenge you to do that discovery call. Talk with, somebody. We offer it. If we're a right fit for you, come on board.
And there's something really awesome to look forward to in 2024. The cost of living for all our disabilities checks are going up by 3.2%. So there is a blog on VAclaimsinsider.com that has a chart to give you an idea of what your checks would look like with the new pay bump. So that's pretty cool. 3.2. Check it out. Add a little bit more momentum. We have the link there to take you to that chart, so you get the heads up on what that looks like.
Yeah, great point. Gives a breakdown of, for independent or dependents, and, from being rated at 10% to 100%. So it's always a good thing, Coach Luna, when we're getting a raise, right? Like,
Absolutely. So I did see a good question from Tom Darko. How do I get my PCP to write my Nexus? So Tom, that is it's a good question. There's a lot of components to that. So if your doctor is not comfortable with writing a Nexuses, a lot of private doctors are not comfortable with writing Nexuses. Also, they might not know how to. So getting your private doctor to write your Nexus can be a mixed bag. It's not that they might not have any ill will towards the government or whatnot. I've heard of that as well, but it's just there's a finesse with these Nexus letters. And if you get one that isn't covering all your bases, it's going to just be a waste of time, because you're going to submit it. It could be anywhere from 6 to 8 months for them to deny it. That's the most reoccurring outcome I've seen with private Nexus letters. So with our preferred provider network, Telemedica, they have doctors that this is their specialty. I've used them for my own claims. They have the experience of writing in lingo that the VA understands, because a lot of times, like, it's their own language. You have to know how to talk to the VA. And Telemedica is a great resource for that. So tread with caution on that question. If you want to ask your private provider, your private care physician to write up that Nexus, I have not seen enough confident outcomes to suggest that route.
Yeah, and Coach Luna, just to touch on that too, for those, if it's your first time or you're really just hearing, some of the terminology, that Nexus is that link connecting, right? It's a medical opinion. As embarrassing as it is, I had a hard time with, like, what does this mean exactly? But it's a medical opinion, and it's bridging that disability to your service connection.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. So James Edmonds, when is the COLA going into effect? So it's going into effect December, but you won't see it until January. Good question.
Sure.
So Eugene Van Wagner, I have 10% hearing loss and tinnitus. Do I need a Nexus for depression and anxiety? So ideally, that would be step 2 in your process. Now, there's a lot of components to that than just simply getting a Nexus for your depression and your anxiety. That's part of it. But if you don't have a bed of evidence to support a Nexus, the VA is not really going to hold too much weight to it if you're not showing that you're getting treatment for your depression and anxiety. So a Nexus is the cherry on top of a fully developed claim. You want to show that the VA that you have been doing your due diligence trying to get treated for the disability that you're applying for. So you do need that, but that's step two. You need the medical evidence to show that you have depression and anxiety because of your hearing loss and tinnitus. And I have helped out several vets go down that path exactly. So it doesn't take very long to build up your medical evidence. That's part of the elite process. Is we take all the guesswork out of how to file a successful claim. So we'll have that talk about how has your hearing loss and your tinnitus gave you depression and anxiety. Once you have an understanding of how that happens, then you build up that case with a counselor or therapist to make sure that you're getting the treatment that you need. A thing that a lot of vets overlook and that I love helping out is that we're not just for disability paychecks. The money is nice, the entitlements are nice, but the care that a lot of vets have been missing out on for so long is also invaluable. So you get to actually appreciate your benefits when you're actually starting to get treatment. Like I have depression and anxiety myself. I've been talking to a therapist now for a few years straight. And I know if I didn't have that, I would not be an effective coach. I would not be able to enjoy my own life outside of this if I didn't have that treatment that the VA was able to provide me. So yeah, you do need a Nexus, but you need a lot more evidence before you get to that point. So if you need help with that, by all means, come on board.
And once again, they're just with the discovery call, right? It's a great time. It's free. Hop on. You get a one-on-one on kind of some of the things that we can do, and it's good spot for you to be able to ask any questions and kind of go more in depth.
Mitch, what brought you to VA Claims Insider? What was were you ever a client or?
Yeah, so Coach Luna, I really appreciate you asking me that, sir. As I transitioned, right, honestly, my annual retirement date was July 1st of this year, so it's been a little over a year. I've been fortunate in my career to serve with some great people and mentors, but as I was transitioning from the military, we expect to know and understand the why behind things. And I was getting advice from people, but I couldn't get a why. And as I realized it was they were trying to share with me the best advice they could, but they didn't understand why they were being rated the way they were. I have a nice story like everyone else with the compensations and pensions and just what I thought from medical providers and what I was actually doing. I didn't understand it. So I can look at people and say, if I would have known, right? I think a lot of us look and go, man, if I only knew what I know now. When I went through that transition, you probably, I would have disappointed everybody, right? That impression that I got from my decision letters, it was tough for me. It was really frustrating because I didn't understand, why I was being rated the way I was. Found VA Claims Insider, and truth be told, I just seen the videos being put out and knew some other people that were talking about it. And I'll tell you, just if you go onto the YouTube, man, and you just watch the videos, like these conversations we're having with people, I felt that second calling in life. Coach Luna, I thought I was going to go sit on the beach, man. I thought I was done. Up, call it a day. But, I started looking at these disabilities, and the truth is, it is tough, and you got to understand. And I believe deep down inside that everything you guys have done and VA Claims Insider is doing is bridging that gap, right, for veterans to be heard and understand how it actually works. So I know I'm a little long-winded, but that's really my true story, Coach Luna. And to be here is just every day is a blessing with everybody, and to get to talk to veterans.
Yeah, no, that's great. It's when I was in, I had no idea that any of these benefits actually existed, and it wasn't until I neglected my mental health for so long that I went to the VA finally to start asking for help, and come to find out they said, you do have benefits behind this. And I'm like, okay. and I got my first denial after trying to apply for those benefits. So that kind of set the tone that I think gave me a lot of empathy for a lot of vets that sign up here. And when I read those denial letters, like you were saying too, like it was very revealing because it's saying that you weren't expressing symptoms of XYZ and mental health. I'm like, wait a minute, this is the first time I'm actually reading about symptoms of mental health. I had no idea. I would only talk to my counselor and say, I just feel like something's really wrong. And that wasn't enough. So we, like, veterans just don't know this process. They don't know how much information is behind each claim. So being able to help out a vet that was in that same confusing spot that I was in, that hopeless spot, like being able to have that conversation that we vets, we talk to each other in a certain way that's different from everybody else, and helping a vet open up in the way they need to not only gives them the help that they need, it gives them the benefits that they deserve. So if anybody has had any trouble trying to understand mental health or trying to understand the process, that's what we bring to the table. We bring you a game plan. We bring you the strategy. We take all the guesswork out. Like, is this claim worth going for? I've had some vets that have been going after dead end claims for years, and these claims will never get service connected. But they don't realize that they have other claims that are far more viable to go after. So if you guys been beating a dead horse with some of these claims, then come to us. Maybe it's just time to let go of that and see that there's other more fruitful claims to go after that you already have ready.
Yeah, I'll tell you, David Berry put in the chat here, what do I need to have a fully developed claim? That's a great question, David. Appreciate you asking it, right? I would tell you by law, there's what they call like the Kaluza triangle, right? And I won't go too into it because it's a lot, to really break down on here, but you really want to have a diagnosis, right? You want to have an in-service event. Most of the time, is that going to be, was it documented from our time in service? It can be a little bit different. That's where that nexus comes into play, right? With the logical rationale part, connecting it. If you don't have documentation from your time in service, but you want to have supporting medical evidence for your claim, right? If I truly broke my finger in the Army and it's not a disability compensation today, like it's 100% no issues there. It was something that happened in the military and it's documented in the military, but it's not compensatable today because it's 100% healed, right? And having that medical evidence, like let's say I had arthritis today and it was stopping me from things, I would want that current diagnosis showing that, hey, it's still affecting me today, right? Because now it can be argued that it is a compensation I should be getting. So when you're looking at a fully developed claim, you really want to make sure you have that medical evidence supporting that disability you're claiming.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So you want to have like an in-service stressor or event. You need to have a current diagnosis and current treatment to show that it's still bugging you. That shows that it's a disability, and then a nexus to tie it all together. And that's where we can help out with that. We can let you know, like by looking at some of your records, like, hey, you actually have two out of three for this claim. Let's get you that third one and get you that claim ready. Secondaries. So secondary conditions are actually pretty awesome, because secondary conditions means that this disability is a result of another service-connected condition that you already had, and it doesn't need to be diagnosed on active duty. So in that case, the rules change because you need to have a recognized secondary condition from primary service-connected condition. So for me, I got excuse me, I got migraines as a secondary to my my mental health, because when I get stressed out, I'm pretty prone to developing headaches. So I wasn't diagnosed with headaches until almost 5 years after I left active duty, and I got them service connected. So if you guys have conditions that you're diagnosed with that weren't diagnosed on active duty, they might fit in as a secondary to something that you already do have service connected. So that's part of the complexity of the system, and how much we can help out by getting those looked at. Also with PACT Act conditions now, if you guys are suffering with conditions that you weren't suffering with on active duty, maybe they are PACT Act related and we can help out with that. So if anyone's still curious, by all means, get that discovery call, use one of our sign up links for help, and we'll definitely be here to give you our all.
Awesome. Great example, Coach. Stephen Shy put in the comments here, I'm a 72-year-old, 70% PTSD, but paid at 100% rate for 17 years. Can it be reduced or taken away? Coach Luna, if I'm wrong on this, please correct me.
Yeah.
So a lot of the times when you're looking at, disability, right, they do kind of look over time at a static display for it. I'm not exactly sure. I'm gonna take a jab here and say that you have TDIU, right? Because you're being compensated at 100% for a 70% disability. I'm assuming that. So if I'm wrong, Stephen, I apologize. If you're in a static spot, really what the VA is looking at is the likelihood, right? It's more than likely than not that it's not going to get better at this point. Contrary to what I say, anytime you ever submit a claim, it's kind of like you take that chance of opening up an audit on something, right? And it's not to be fear-based, Stephen. So please, if you should be getting 100% permanent total, then I'm going to tell you go for it, right? But unless you're at 100% permanent and total, that's kind of like when it's all over, right? That's that magic claim for everybody because you're done fighting the VA. They say that the likelihood is more likely than not that you're just going to deal with these disabilities for the rest of your life. So I wanted to answer it because I think I know where you were going, Stephen, but I know it's probably a little more in depth too, but it's a great question.
Yeah, TDIU has slightly different rules behind it, but where you're at right now, they shouldn't have to worry you. I think the 55-year rule would also apply too, that after 55, they normally don't reevaluate conditions. So Stephen, you should be good. And Jeffrey Taylor, I did see that my decision letter I received, there are 2 lines that stipulate that I receive an amount of 20% in ratings. Is there somewhere to find out the amount for each rating I was awarded? So if you log on to your VA.gov site, you can see that underneath your name, you're going to see that 20% rating. Click on that rating. It's going to give you a breakdown of everything that you are service connected with and everything that's has ever been denied. So VA.gov is a great one-stop shop for all your disability benefits. So take a look at that. It's going to be pretty easy. You log in, look underneath your name, see that disability rating, click on that. You should see everything that you have awarded and everything that's been denied.
Great.
That's another thing too that I didn't know, and a lot of vets don't know. If you've had a claim that's ever been denied, guess what? You cannot file that claim the same way again. And a lot of vets do just because they don't know the process, and they just waste a lot more time trying to find the right process to get there. So if you've ever had a denied claim that you're still working on, let us know. Maybe it could be something as simple as just filing an appeal with new evidence.
Yeah. One thing too on that too, with like the 0% ratings, I'll just be openly vulnerable with everyone. To me, I thought like the 0% rating, Coach Luna, I'm not service connected, right? Like I was really frustrated, like, oh, and the truth is that 0% disability rating is actually a huge win. They are acknowledging that that's a service connected disability. What they're saying at that time to you is, hey, your symptoms aren't compensatable, right? So if you're looking over that stuff, and I just say to you, because our culture, right? We all get up every day, we put our best foot forward, life throws cards at us and we just deal with what we get. But a lot of the times when it comes to our compensations, it's that frequency, severity, and duration. And me as an example, if you put me on the spot and it's an uncomfortable thing, I'm just going to downplay things to you. Yeah, I deal with, hey, Mitch, what's wrong with you? Oh, man, hey, Coach Luna, I got a stress headache, and I just keep it moving, right? And it's just part of life. Yeah, I'm letting you know, hey, I'm dealing with this, but I don't want to talk about it, and I'll be good. Well, really being able to describe what our symptoms look like and what how it's affecting us day to day is really key with those 0% claims. Speaking for myself, that's where I really didn't understand because I didn't talk about it, and that's kind of on me, as embarrassing as it is to say.
And that's the thing. It's like, it's on you. It's not on you. You just didn't know. We don't know what we don't know. And especially like when like my mental health and my migraines were just like annihilating my productivity at work, and I just wasn't getting help. I was one of those vets that just didn't like going to doctors. And once life kind of forces you to go to a doctor on that, it's pretty rough. But that's the medical evidence that we can help out with. So if you have any zeros that are supposed to be something higher, we could take a look and see what help we can do with that. Like I got 0% for sinusitis and rhinitis, and that's just ridiculous. Like my sinuses are always a mess. So sometimes it's worth the fight. Other times, like it's a success, but even with that, 0% can still lead to some pretty potent secondary claims.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Looks like Wayne Kern put in here, I have had good luck with the last 2 HLRs, waiting for my third for TDIU. So HLRs, right? Wayne, thanks for sharing with us. HLRs, higher level reviews. That's kind of what Coach Luna was just talking about. If you've been denied before, there is different things you have to do, right? Number one, if you've ever been denied for anything, there's always options there for you. So don't think it's over. I think that's a big myth that sometimes we can create. You have a lot of options there. One is that higher level review, and it is a very effective appeal process, right? The truth is, we're all human beings, to include the VA, and the people working there are great people, but we make mistakes. And that higher level review process is there for you as the veteran. If you disagree with it and something's wrong in there, it's a great way of doing it. I know it adds time on there for you, sir, but just wanted to take that opportunity and touch on HLRs because I didn't know what an HLR was. So
Yep. So every appeal can be very or needs to be very considered because one might be better than the other. So you don't want to file an HLR if there wasn't enough evidence to begin with. And a lot of vets sometimes do, and they'll just end up still being denied. So we'll take the guesswork out of that by advising you the best route to take. And let's see. So William Ford, I have TMJ, which leads to migraines, and I have 0% on TMJ service connection and 0% for migraine service connected. What do I need to do? So you need to get those treatment to show that your migraines are still aggravating you. How do they bug you at work? How do they bug you in your time off? You need to develop that medical evidence to show that you've been trying to get those headaches treated. So if you've been service connected with TMJ already too, then you really don't need to worry about the connection between the two. You're already service connected for both. So just talk about how bad those headaches get, show that medical treatment that you've been trying to get them treated. Over the counter does not count as credible evidence in a VA claim. So for anybody dealing with headaches, GERD, things like that, I made that mistake too. I filed a claim for my heartburn because it was horrible, and I had only ever just been buying Tums and finishing those big old tubs of Tums every week. And guess what? None of that counted. So you need to show the treatment from a doctor. So because that's credible. That is credible evidence.
Good stuff. Miss Leah put in here, can I work with TDIU? It's a good question. So the answer is yes, you can. Okay. But to be clear there, when it comes to having the compensation of TDIU, you can only make so much money a year, right? So that's the big difference between TDIU and being 100% or 100% permanent total, right? And you know how we love acronyms in the military, right, everyone? But with TDIU, there's like a TDIU versus 100%, 100% PNT. It can be a little bit confusing for us, right? But that's the big difference. You have a disability compensation where you're just not going to get to 100%. It warrants, let's say, your disability warrants a 70%, but it does affect you from not being able to work. That's somewhere where you might want to look at a TDIU claim, right? Because it can't go any higher for your disability, but it is stopping you occupationally and financially, right? But the one difference with it is, can I work? Yes, you can, but it is limited on how much you can make.
Yeah, the national poverty level is the limit, and it's even in the name, TDIU, temporary disability, individual unemployability. So it's in the name. With 100% permanent total, you're allowed to work. You don't have a cap on how much income that you can make with 100% permanent in total. With TDIU, that is capped. So see if it's the best fit for your situation. Like if any vets are considering TDIU, maybe you're actually a claim or two away from getting to 100% instead, and that would be the preferred one over TDIU, because TDIU is a little bit of a mixed bag. So if you get TDIU, you could potentially get the additional benefits that 100% permanent and total grant you, and sometimes you don't. Sometimes they'll just grant you the TDIU without the permanent and total, and you'll be missing out on those permanent and total benefits that 100% could provide. So every case is different. If a vet, I've had vets that the best route was to go TDIU because they just really didn't have too much else going on, but the service connections that they did have were that detrimental enough to where they were unemployed. So talk to a coach, see if that's the best route for you.
Yeah, do the discovery call. It's up on there. I'm telling you, get on the discovery call. I think it's 10, 15 minutes. You can ask questions, see if we're a good fit, and we can, if we can possibly help you out. You don't lose anything there. If you haven't done it before, recommend you try.
And Ninja 100 Kid, how can the VA reduce 100% permanent in total? So that is an awesome question. And the answer is yes, they can reduce 100% permanent total if you give them a reason to. So we've had vets that came in that were 100% permanent total. The VA knocked them down. Come to find out that a lot of these vets will continue just filing claims. So that's every time you file a claim after you get to 100% permanent in total, you're giving the VA permission to review your cases. And that could lead them to remove the permanent total status or even knock you down from 100 down to whatever they deem. So there is a way that the VA can reduce 100% permanent total, and that's by poking the bear. So be very cautious about submitting claims past 100%. Like, these conditions, if you got to 100%, they ebb and flow. Some days my back is better than other days. Sometimes my mental health is better than other days. If you go unprepared and you're just recklessly filing claims past 100%, you're putting yourself in the crosshairs. So that's how the VA can reduce that.
Good stuff. Bill Lawrence put, can someone tell me after the VA Board of Appeals ruled that my PTSD is service connected? It has been sent to the RO for further action. What can I expect? Good question. Thanks for asking, Bill. I'll tell you that there's two parts with a claim, right? For compensation, as far as, is it a service-connected disability? Yes. And where we should be compensated at for that disability. If they've identified that it is a service-connected disability, which it looks like in your case, they're really looking at where you should be compensated at, right? How it affects you, that frequency, severity, and duration. I'm not sure, just because I had to have a few more questions for you on a personal conversation, but it kind of sounds like it's in that hurry up and wait right now for you, right? For where they're looking at where you should actually be compensated at for your PTSD.
And Jennifer Berry, I'm at 100% P&T with unemployability since last year. Social Security says I can work due to my 15 years work history and education. Can unemployable status be removed without 100% being affected? So those are two very different things. You can't have 100% permanent and total status and be in TDIU status. It'll either be one or the other. So you really need to clarify or get some clarification where you're at. If you're at 100% permanent and total, you're allowed to work. You don't have a cap on how much you can work, how much you can earn. None of that's affected with 100% permanent and total. Now with TDIU, that is capped. That is capped at the max poverty level. So take a look in your records. Take a look at your VA.gov. What does your benefit summary letter say? What do your service-connected conditions say? If you see TDIU in there, that means that you're TDIU status. If your rating underneath your name, click on that. If you're at 100% permanent and total, then you're not capped. So I would say definitely do your best to try to like untangle those, because it has to be one or the other.
David Berry put, do DBQs help? Yeah, absolutely they do. Disability benefits questionnaires, right? For those of you who might not know, it's disability benefits questionnaires. That's actually what's being filled out during a CMP exam, right? That's what they're doing. They're identifying, is this a service connection, and what's that severity, frequency, and duration.
Yep.
The reason I tell you it absolutely helps is because you're capturing that frequency, severity, and duration, right? So a quick example, Coach Luna would probably be better with this scenario, but like for migraines, right? How often are you having migraines? What does that look like for you? Does it stop you from being able to go into work some days? Does it, is it prostrating? You have to go lie down. There's certain symptoms with each disability that they're looking at. And having that documented on a disability benefit questionnaire is supporting evidence on your behalf, sir. So yeah, they definitely bring a value. Great question.
That could be the difference between 30% and 50%. That was my case, because my migraines, I'm on the injections now, Emgality, because that's how often that my migraines hit. And sometimes sometimes you get a CMP examiner that may or not be empathetic when you let them know about the severity on that. A DBQ with that severity checked off will make a very strong argument to argue for the higher ratings. So come prepared with the evidence to show how often that you're affected at work. If you have to call out, take a picture of a time clock, take a screenshot of text like, hey, I can't come into work, or give me a minute, I'm dealing with a migraine. All of that's evidence to show that your condition is affecting your productivity at work. And then a DBQ can help that, because that'll show the doctor that they can check off that box because you match that severity because of your condition.
Absolutely. Andy Ford put in here, Coach Luna, he put, so I have TMJ, which leads to migraines. I am 0% service connected on TMJ and 0% service connected on migraines. What do I need to do? Start documenting your symptoms. It's kind of exactly what we're talking about, Andy. It's a really great questions. I'd want to dive in with you on some things, right? But in general, hey, what's that severity, frequency, and duration? How often is this affecting me, right? TMJ is a little bit different from migraines in that aspect, but is it wearing down your teeth? Is it causing headaches? What does it look like day to day for you with it? But it really starts with us as the veteran. And team, I'm the biggest hypocrite in the world, right? Like, I can't. I'm not going to pick on doctors. I think they're the best people in the world, and that's the truth. But unless I'm, can't get out of bed, or my wife forces me, I'm not going to the doctor, right? But these things you really want to have captured because it shows how much it's affecting you. That 0% is service connected, right? So they're acknowledging it. It's just, where should you be compensated at, and understanding, for yourself, hey, this is where I should be rated for this because of these symptoms and because of how frequent it's happening.
So I want to touch on one real quick. William Smith, I'm already at permanent and total, but I have some conditions that are still getting worse, like my low back and having arthritis symptoms. Should I add anything to my claim or just get treatment? If you are at permanent and total status, there's no benefit to filing an increase. You're not going to get any more money. Back to what I was saying earlier, you're going to put yourself in the crosshair for the VA to potentially reduce your ratings. So tread with caution. There's really, in that claim, there's little reward. There's no reward, and there's all risk. So just play that smart. And William Dudley.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Coach. I apologize. Well, it's tough too, William, because it's principle, right? Like, we hear you, and it's like, hey, these are my truths. But it's just that it's just really, is it ultimately there's 100% permanent and total, and it doesn't go any higher, right? So it's that cost reward ratio, and sometimes that's, it's a tough question. I don't think any of us like to answer, because I wouldn't want someone to tell me, right? Because of the principle behind it. But Coach Luna is 100% correct. Like, anytime you open up at a permanent and total, there's that chance of risk. That's all you're taking and doing that.
Yep. So William Dudley had a good one. What about veterans that serve stateside where Agent Orange, blue and white were used? So depending on what base you were at, there are certain presumptives that are recognized with being at that base. So get in contact with a coach, let them know, or show them your DD-214. You'll see where you were stationed at. There could be a chance that one of those bases that you were at is a known area that was exposed to Agent Orange. That's a good question.
Yeah, there's also like the toxic exposures, right? The VA is really focusing on that with Terra. And, sometimes it's a little bit slow with things, right? With the VA, just in general. But that's why it's so important for us as veterans to speak our truths and put in these things. Because like when you talk about like the presumptives and the PACT Act, they're taking data over time and they're going, oh, wow, this high volume of veterans was exposed to certain things. And now they're presuming that it's a service-connected disability for us as the veteran on there. I was looking at, I think we missed one earlier. It was Miss Lisa. I want to answer this. So she put major depression. It's Miss Leah, excuse me. Major depression disorder, recurrent moderate with anxiety attacks. Can I link my congestive heart failure? So Miss Leah, it's a great question, right? You hear a little hesitancy here because, ultimately we're coaches. We're not doctors, right? But there is secondaries. And what I would really look at is there are secondaries from a medical evidence perspective to link that. If so, that's where you want that nexus, right? You want that opinion from that doctor. Sitting here today looking at it, I could tell you that I believe, yeah, if you're dealing with mental health, issues and they're affecting things, can that stress and weight cause issues with your heart? I would like to believe so. But where we have that preferred provider network, we're very fortunate to have a group of doctors who are medically qualified to really determine that. right? Is there a connection there? And the truth is, ma'am, each of us is completely different, right? So it's just because, you know, your history and stuff, they might be able to do something like that for, they might not be able to do that for me. Mine might be from something totally different. So it really varies on the specific individual and their history. We got some good questions today.
Mm-hmm. So, Mike Dolores, at what percentage do you get full health care? So it's a little tricky. So if you're in the VA system, even with 10%, like you got pretty much healthcare covered. Now, past 50%, you won't have any copays with the VA, so that's pretty awesome. At 100%, you don't have any copays, and you get dental on that. So it's a little bit of a tiered system. So if you're underneath 50%, you have to deal with copays. You have healthcare, but there is a certain amount that you have to copay before then. After 50%, you'll have no more copays, and at 100%, no copays plus dental. And then
medical for your family.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Good catch. Yeah, at 100% permanent total, you get Champ VA. So that's a healthcare plan for your family. And then Vic Wiggins, I'm familiar with how you get to 100%, but can you explain how you get to permanent and total? So permanent and total means that all your conditions aren't expected to get better. So more often than not, they typically will assign that when you get to 100. If they don't, and you're just dealing with 100%, that's an unprotected 100%. So you could file for that, and you'll talk to a doctor, which essentially is like a giant CMP exam for all your conditions, talking about how they're not getting better. So there's a little bit of components to that. Sometimes if you haven't received any treatment for another condition, for a condition in a while, you want to make sure that you're showing that your conditions are still regularly bothering you. So that doesn't happen too often when you go through us. I haven't had too many vets that had to file for permanent and total. But if that's something that you need help with, get on a discovery call and see if this is a potential good fit for that.
Good questions. So we got Brian Hess on here too. He just got diagnosed with hearing loss and will be getting hearing aids. Should I go for hearing loss or try to make it a secondary to tinnitus? So Brian, it's a great question. This kind of goes into some of the strategies, right? Like that we look at with things. I would ask, all right, so are you service connected already for tinnitus? When it comes to our hearing and stuff, believe it or not, the VA actually does like what I would call like an order of merit, right? On what's the probability that your MOS in the military you were exposed to those high noises, right? Example like artillery. I mean, that's you train as you fight, right? You're exposed to loud noises constantly every day. And I know there's a lot of MOSs out there where you could make that argument because they're true. If you have one of those or you've never filed for hearing loss, it might be a direct service, right? But yeah, you can look at it from the secondaries, and that's where it's really to be effective. And what's your unique background, right? Do you feel like your hearing loss was caused by your time in the military? Then that's something that I'd really sit down and talk with somebody about because it could possibly be direct service, right? Instead of secondary. In this platform, it's great. I would love to go into it. Just we got to watch it because it's personal information about each other, right? So I'm trying to do my best to answer it directly for you. But I would definitely look at, hey, do I feel like this was caused by my time in service? Eli Riddle put in here, had a CMP exam in September for 4 claims. I found out the nurse practitioner stated that all my claims are not caused by service. I provided an IMO, an independent medical opinion, and Nexus from my private and a VA doctor, what can I do before? When you've done the CMP exam, and Coach Luna, please, any thoughts on this? When you've done a CMP exam, the reality is doctors can make different opinions, right? And I'll tell you, I had no clue. I didn't realize how alpha mentality the medical field really is on their opinions and things, right? Just naive to it, Eli. And it's a tough one, right? But in the moment, if it's going through, they're supposed to hold the weight of all the evidence, right? So if you got these, opinions and medical evidence there, it does not mean that you're not necessarily going to get service connected for it, right? It can be a frustrating moment because the truth is you're really in that hurry up and wait. And if that comes back and that decision isn't favorable to you, then that's when I would start preparing for, all right, I know I have this medical evidence here. What do I need to do? Example might be like that higher level review, right? Hey, all my medical evidence is not being weighted correctly, and I want to talk to somebody about it. But otherwise, it's tough because until you have that decision, you're just not going to know.
That's right, Mitch. Like, if anything, those decision letters are going to really dictate what you should do. So look into the decision letters. If they didn't provide the Nexus letters on the evidence, maybe they missed it. If you do see that and it shows in the medical records that you didn't have any treatment from active duty, then the Nexus out of service trying to link something to something that doesn't have any medical evidence in the first place, that's probably not a good claim to go after. So I would say you need to get a coach who can review those denial letters, ask you some follow-up questions, and see if those claims are worth going after. If I've had vets that will do that, and some claims were just too weak of an argument to go after, and then I saw that other claims definitely did have more components to it to successfully appeal. So save yourself the guesswork. Read those denial letters, and if you want one of the coaches to help you out, by all means, sign up.
Good stuff.
And Mama Gina Singleton, I have permanent disability 100%, so can I work? So if you know for sure that you are 100% permanent in total, which you can find out on VA.gov, yes, you can work. You want to look at your benefits summary letter on VA.gov, and in the wording there, you'll see a line that says, "Are you considered permanent and totally disabled from your service-connected conditions? Yes or no?" If it says yes, that means you can work as much as you want.
Fred Hawkins put in here, how long does it take to hear back from an appeals judge? And I wish I could answer everybody directly here on this one, but when it comes down to, our claims and disabilities, the truth is there's no timeline, right? It's really hard to hear, but that is really the truth. When it comes to your traditional claims, direct service, secondaries, not Board of Veterans Appeals, their average right now is 120, 125 days as an average, but take the key word in that average, right? Because that is really the truth. You could file a claim and it could come back a month later. You could file a claim and it takes 8 months, to hear something back on it. So there's no direct answer there, but it's a great question.
Yep. And then A and B, if you get to 100% TDIU, is it okay to later file claims to get you to 100% permanent total? So the wording on that is if you have a TDIU, so they'll pay you at the 100% rate, but you're at TDIU. And you file, is it okay to file claims to get to 100%? Yes, you can file claims to still get to 100% if you're in the TDIU status. Just one will take over another. Like if you do get to 100% based on your service connected conditions, they'll transition. Well, they'll drop the TDIU, and then you'll just be left with 100% permanent total.
Looks like Rochelle Farah put, are injuries that occurred off duty considered service connected? I love this question, Rochelle. So it really depends, right? Like, let's talk for a second. You got all the branches of service: active duty, reserve, guard, right? We're all veterans. We've all been there, done that. If you were off duty and you were on active duty, the truth is you're always 24/7 on active duty. Even if you take leave and you go home, God forbid you were to get in an accident, you're still on duty at that time, right? It is a little bit different when you look at the reserve or you look at the guard, right? Because it's designed where you're serving that 1 week in a month, 2 weeks out of the year. And when we look at our disabilities, our compensations have to be from our active duty service. So there's exceptions there, but it's really important to understand the difference, right? When we're talking, and especially looking at compensation claims. If you're in the guard and you're doing a drill or you're out doing something and you were to get injured, that would be considered like in the line of duty, right? And that can be compensated. But let me flip it around for you, ma'am. Let's say I'm in the guard and I'm on a Wednesday afternoon, I'm out doing PT to stay in shape, and I wipe out, car hits me, right? And I break my leg. Unfortunately, yeah, I'm doing that to stay in shape to meet standards in the military, but I'm not on active duty and I'm not at my drill or on active duty orders at that time. In that case, it would be no, right? So if it's active duty and you're not at work and you were off duty, the answer is yes, because you really are on active duty 24/7 on your contract.
Yeah, just to clarify that, if you're on active duty and you're playing sports with your friends and you twist your ankle, and that happened on one of your days off, if you went to the doctor because of that ankle, that's still considered a viable claim if you're on active duty. Now, going back to if you're on guard or reserve, if something happens on drill, you need to get what Coach Mitch said, a line of duty determination. That is a document that you get from your squadron that officially says this service member was injured because of his military service. That is the only way to get something service connected on guard or reserve if you were just on a drill weekend, including your annual tours, the 2 weeks a year. Yep. So if you don't have that, if you don't have the line of duty determination, but something happened during that drill weekend, that is practically an impossible claim. So if anyone listening here is on guard or reserve, if you are injured anytime during your drill or training days, get a line of duty before you leave. That is the only way to really get that service connected. Please, that is something big. It's really heartbreaking when a vet tells me that they had a car accident on the way to drill. They didn't get a line of duty determination and they have back and neck problems. Unfortunately, there's nothing I can do for that. So yeah, that's very important. But if you're on active duty, if you are on active duty orders, and you injure yourself, if you have that medical evidence to show that you do have that injury, that's a claim.
Hey, Coach Luna, and I know we're getting to the top of the hour. I just want to throw a quick plug out there. Brian Reese. Brian Reese has a book out. It's You Deserve It. It's in its second edition right now. You can order it on Amazon. You can also go on and download a free copy of the book by going to youdeserveitfree.com.
And the link is right there.
Bam. Check it out. There's some good things in there. Highly recommend it.
That is a comprehensive book that just outlines all the benefits in pretty much like every state that a vet goes in. So that is a huge book. I have the first edition, and I'm still not done with it. That's a huge asset to have. But thank you for spending your time with us, vets. It was a pleasure asking your questions. If you guys have any other questions, by all means, get on that discovery call, get a coach, and let's see if we can help you out.
We love y'all. I'm sorry if we didn't get to all your questions and get them answered. We were really trying our best to. Be safe. Check out that discovery call. If you're already part with the LEAD program, get with your coach if you have any more questions. Thanks. Have a good day.